Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to ItsKim Live, the Friday episode. We've never done this before. This is new. If you've never been here, hi, I'm ItsKim. I am a pop culture commentator. I like to talk about topics in pop culture that interest me. A lot of the time, I do a lot more like celebrity news, music news, all that type of stuff. But today, we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to talk about something that I'm very passionate about. And we also wanted to try doing the show at a different time so that my lovely community, who I call my space angels, some of them are all over the world. And the times that we normally do our streams, sometimes they can't be a part of because they're sleeping or something like that. So we wanted to try a couple different time zones, and that's what we are going to be trying to do tonight. So we figured, let's have a Friday night fun stream. Let's not do anything super crazy. Let's just have a good time. And I have a topic that I'd like to go over today with you guys that I have ranted about a little bit over the past couple of weeks. But I'm going to go deep, and I want to let you guys know why I have feelings about this. So I am joined by my partner in crime, my co-pilot, producer sister.
Hi.
She is here, and we are going to talk about stuff, and I am very excited. So if you're watching on the replay, there will be timestamps as normal, so you can jump around. This may end up becoming members only. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Whatever. We're just going to have a good time. So I see you guys in here. It is good to see you guys. This is kind of nice. It's like getting just to have like a fun night out kind of like with friends in a weird way. And I know like we all don't really like know each other that way, but I'm just saying that like it's cool. It's cool. I'm happy. Producer sister.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I know. We've had a day.
We have had a day.
You may have seen in the chat, I mentioned that I hurt my hand. It's okay. I slammed it. It hurts. But we're doing okay. So that just meant I couldn't move as quickly. Fun thing. My hands are weird. I have like a weird muscle thing with them, and sometimes if I use them too much, they actually like spasm. So not a great time. Not a great time. But I did, while you guys were waiting, I did give 5 memberships. So welcome to the 5 new Space Angels. Welcome. Welcome. And. Oh, and General Scott gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. You are amazing. And Gunner Girl's been a member for 12 months. You got your one! She got her one! Yay! Saying you are so amazing. As I am always got your back. I guess you're saying you've always got my back, which is very kind of you. Thank you very much. I got your back too. Thank you so much. Yep. And congratulations on your 1th. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm happy to see it. Alrighty. So,
I think just to preface this, as most of you guys know, we've had a lot going on the last couple weeks between death in our family and both of us being laid off. I think today would be classified as a tough grief day. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of emotions. Mm-hmm. So we are doing our best. We are here. We're going to try to have fun. We're going to have a conversation. Just try to relax. And I know Kyle just asked, should we need drinks for after this? We have our fun
non-alky
drinks. Non-alky.
This is the preferred drink
yep.
of producer sister and myself when we are just chilling. This is a sunrise, apparently it's called. It is half orange juice, half ginger ale with a bit of grenadine. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I also have it sans grenadine sometimes. It's really nice for my throat sore. I'm a big fan
when
of
you're
that.
sick, if you just
gosh,
do
it's
orange
so
juice
good.
and ginger ale, good.
So let me know what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Let me know what you're drinking. We are all about the mocktails here.
Yeah.
We are all about the mocktails. I do drink from time to time, but I'm very picky about what I drink because I guess I'm like Jennifer Lopez, that she's like, I don't drink to get messed up, and that's why she made the Lola. I don't drink to become intoxicated. I drink because I like the way things taste. And I like ice wine, and ice wine is expensive. So I don't drink it that much.
Very expensive.
So when I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it right.
So yeah, if you're looking for a fun mocktail, we highly recommend it. It's fun. It's not that hard of a combination of ingredients.
It's super cute.
Yeah, it looks super cute, and most people will have things like orange juice and ginger ale and grenadine.
But as I've said before, Canada Dry only for the ginger ale. I accept nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. Alrighty. So I'm just seeing you guys Just like, yeah, it is a fun drink. Thank you, Kay Perry. Thank you. It is a fun drink. And hello, Nikki. Water. Good. Stay hydrated. I probably should be taking notes from you, but I am kind of addicted to coffee, so that doesn't happen very much. I am that problem. I am that stereotypical problem. All right. So, here we go into our lovely topic, and it is very simply what is in the thumbnail here. This is very G-rated language, when my language is probably closer to being rated R when I talk about this topic. But I am going to respect the community guidelines, and we're going to go through the disclaimers now because they are important. First of all, this stream will include speculation and opinion and should not be taken as fact. Always do your own research. Links to my sources are in the description. There's a lot of sources. Like, a lot of sources. Okay? And I will say some of this is rumored. But I hope you guys will understand why I want to talk about it as we continue. And hi, YouTube human reviewer. Hello. We have done our best to ensure this video is appropriate according to your community guidelines because we care about this platform and we would like to stay on it. And viewers, please do not send hate to anyone, famous or not. It's not cute. We are all entitled to have our opinions, but do not do anything that would cause harm to people. I do not support hate at all. But, you know, if Bob Iger's watching, please listen to me.
Take notes.
Please. All right. Here we go. Okay. So we've got some tea today. This is kind of a topic that is very close to my heart. For those of you that are not aware, producer sister and I were raised in a household where Disney was a massive part of our childhood. I don't even know how to adequately describe it. We took multiple trips a year, a lot of the time, to Disney World in Orlando. We have been to Disneyland as well, but Disney World Orlando, Walt Disney World, was basically like a second home for producer sister and myself. And when we started going there, the parks were in trouble. A lot of trouble. And they were trying to get people to come as much as they could. And it kind of started off the whole, like, I don't know if you guys remember in like the 90s when there were all these like sitcoms that had all these families going to Disney and stuff. It just became like the thing. They were trying to get people to go. That was the era that we grew up within Disney. Does that make sense, producer sister?
Yeah, it was. If you were on TGIF, you did an episode at Disney World or Disneyland. But
it was marketing. There was so much marketing, and they were trying to get people to come to the parks as much as possible. And unfortunately, then there was a very strange time where Disney really overextended itself. They opened up Euro Disney, which is now Disneyland Paris, and that was a mess. They opened up Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World, and a lot of the plans that they had for that originally did not come to pass because they did not have the budget, from my understanding. Is that, am I remembering this correctly?
I think so.
Yeah. So there was so much going on in that decade in the 90s. And this also was around the time of the Disney Renaissance, where The Little Mermaid came out in 1989. And if that movie had not been successful, there was discussion of Disney animation shutting down entirely because of how bad it had gotten. So Mermaid opened up the door. Next thing came Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, like Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Tarzan. Am I forgetting something? Mulan. Like that whole thing. Okay? So Disney in this decade had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And anything that happens in Disney film tends to be reflected in Disney parks. Some of that had to do with a man that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on named Michael Eisner, who made a lot of these choices in the 90s. And depending on who you ask, he was the greatest thing for the company or he was the worst thing for the company. Very polarizing figure. But he definitely wanted to have all the new Disney animated films represented in the parks. And this kind of started this whole focus on having intellectual properties or franchises in the parks. That, and he also had a really weird obsession with having like cool things in the parks to impress his son. That was like a whole other thing. I could do a whole deep dive on that. It was very entertaining.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
That's a whole other thing. It's really funny. But so with Disney, currently, what happens, usually summer, is there is the D23 Expo. This is a massive convention with panels where stuff for Disney gets announced. The two biggest panels that I see most often are the parks panel, which is like everything that's happening with Disney parks all over the world. So that extends from the two properties in the United States, Disneyland as well as Walt Disney World. Disneyland consists of two theme parks, and then Disney World is like the size of a small city. And there's 4 theme parks, 3 water parks, but
2.
one of them is closed.
Yeah.
That's all.
By River Country.
Shopping, like a zillion resorts. It's massive.
Disney World is 48 square miles.
It is so big. I don't even know how to describe. It's massive. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Disney World. Then overseas we have Disneyland Paris, we have Shanghai Disney, we have Hong Kong Disney, and we have Tokyo Disney. So the parks panel is all about that stuff. And then we also have the film panel that comes out, which is where we find out about trailers and stuff. And let me know in the chat if you guys have seen the Snow White trailer. I don't even know where to start with that.
I feel like my reaction to the snippet scene of her with the dwarves is Phoebe and Friends yelling "My eyes."
No, it's just...
I don't know how else to describe it, but I'm afraid.
Thank you, Katie. She just said it's trauma.
Trauma.
It's generational trauma. PTSD trauma. I'm just hearing Jamie Lee Curtis in my head.
Like, separate rant, but if you're going to do it live action, do it live action.
Yes, and this was a rant I actually had on Popcorn Planet the other day that I just said, I'm so tired of people being like, the live action remakes, when 90% of the film is CG.
It's not live action.
It's not live action. Shut up.
And I get there might be certain effects or various things you need to do CG, but when entire characters that are people...
Oh my gosh, Wancho, I love this. He just goes, I saw it.
Yeah.
That about sums it up. So the film panel came out. We know there's Toy Story 5 coming. We know there's another Frozen in production, isn't it?
Yeah, another Frozen, another Incredibles.
There's another Incredibles.
A whole whack of sequels.
Sequels, spin-offs, the Mufasa movie. Yeah. You guys are going to start to see a trend here, and it's important. We need to reference it because it is relevant, I promise you. So, basically, in the parks panel, they announced a few things. So here's some of the stuff just for reference that they have announced. So, in Disneyland, they already have a ride there called Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, a part of one of their Star Wars areas.
This ride is also at Hollywood Studios.
Yes. And they are going to be expanding the ride experience to include The Mandalorian. Again, what is The Mandalorian? It is a spin-off of an IP that Disney has purchased.
So for reference, when you go on this ride, it's kind of Russian roulette of which version of the ride you're going to get. There's different scenes, different experiences you can have each time. So they're adding an additional scene that centers on the Mandalorian and Grogu to incorporate that spin-off into the ride itself. If you've ever been on the original Star Wars ride at Disney, it's similar to that where you didn't know which one you were going to get until the ride started.
Yeah, the reimagined version, not the original version.
The reimagined version, yes.
The pilot who had never done this before every time.
We miss him.
Yeah. Thank you, Suey Sue, for the gifted memberships. It's very kind of you. I so appreciate that. And welcome to the new Space Angels. It is good to see you guys here. Okay, so that's happening. So just to keep things on point, we've got an IP that Disney purchased, right? Because Disney bought Star Wars because they acquired Lucasfilm.
Correct.
So not original Disney property, being essentially milked more. Okay. California Adventure. I think there's some typos on here. We're sorry. We ran out of time to fix things. It's all good. The Avengers campus at Disney's California Adventure is going to double in size. And they're going to add on more stuff for the Avengers. Now, here's my thing with both Star Wars and the Avengers. And I'm just going to go full screen for a minute just so you guys can kind of understand what I mean. Out of everything that Disney has done in the past couple of years for Star Wars, and I'm excluding The Mandalorian Okay? I'm excluding The Mandalorian. Has there been anything that they have done that overwhelmingly people have liked? Sound off in the comments. Like, you know what I mean? And when we talk about Marvel,
all I can think of is Endgame.
I don't know about you guys, and I'm so sorry because I know there's a lot of people that love Marvel, and I'm so happy that you guys do. But for me at this point, following this cinematic universe is becoming like a full-time job. The fact that I need to get like a chart to show me how to watch these movies in chronological order because of how oversaturated this market is right now with Marvel content, like, it's insane. And let me know what you think in the comments, because I think there's a lot of people who are getting really sick of the superhero type movie at this point. I think we all appreciate good movies. We appreciate good films. And I do think that there are a lot of superhero movies that are fantastic films. I am not the person going, in that cinema. I'm just saying that there's so much of it. And it starts to feel like they are just milking the franchise. I'm sorry, what was She-Hulk? I tried. I did. I tried. Because I heard my friends complain about it, and I was like, there's no way it's that bad. I now trust my friends when they tell me things are bad. So,
I think, too, though, it's... One, you're oversaturating the market, but the quality of the saturation is not what it originally was. So it's this double whammy of watering down your product.
Yeah. So... My fear with this, when I start to see the theme parks focusing so much on these IPs, is that if you start to have an IP that kind of goes down, what happens within the park?
Yep.
If you're investing so much into this, it's a lot. And I have not seen Deadpool Wolverine. I've heard it's very good and I want to. But I guess I'm just trying to say there's been a lot of things I've seen, particularly with Disney Plus, within the Marvel universe, that people have not been happy about. And it's the same thing with Star Wars. Like, The Acolyte just got canceled. I have not heard one person be like, I loved it. I just haven't. So I hope that makes sense. I'm checking the comments here to see what you guys are saying. Where is it? Oh, Kyle's the DC animated movie universe is a template. Fair. But I hope you guys, let me know in the chat, put a 1 if you understand what I'm saying, that there's just a lot of it right now, and it is getting transferred into the parks. Okay. So we go to Animal Kingdom. This is in Orlando. There's a new Indiana Jones ride coming. Again, this is a Lucasfilm IP that Disney purchased. Okay. Hong Kong Disneyland. We're getting a new Spider-Man attraction. Okay. More Marvel. Magic Kingdom. We're getting a Cars Land. Now, this one is super weird. So, Pixar has been purchased by Disney. They are now, merged, but they were not originally. And there was a time, actually, that they were not friends. Mm-hmm. It was a very ugly period of time.
Steve Jobs was not happy.
Yeah, it was bad. Okay, so Cars expansion, and we've been seeing this. There's been a huge push to get Pixar all over the Disney parks. Sometimes I think it's worked, and sometimes I feel like it's kind of been a bit of like, we just want all the Pixar IPs in the park. It gets a little bit like, okay. It works when it works, but sometimes it just feels a little wrenched in there. That's just my opinion. But the weird thing about this Cars expansion is we're going to get 2 attractions. And the issue with it is where it's going. Oh, did I lose my map? Crap, I lose my map. Hang on a second. I gotta find the map. The map is relevant.
Yes.
We need the map! No! I don't have the map. That was my failure.
We can talk about it after.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about it after.
Yeah, we can talk about after the Muppet rant.
Yeah. Okay, so... breaking everything. Okay. There we go. Okay. So... Sorry, I'm laughing at the chat. You guys are great. So with the Cars expansion, basically what they are doing that has really ticked off a lot of people is there is a section within Magic Kingdom, the park, where there is a river that has a big boat. It's by Haunted Mansion, if any of you guys have any idea of the location. This has been a very classic thing, and basically what they've decided to do is they're getting rid of it. The water, the aesthetic of the area, and putting in this Cars Land. I've seen a lot of mixed reaction to this, because part of what I'm trying to explain here is that Disney Parks in itself has its own IPs. It has its own history, it has its own characters, it has its own lore, it has its own universe, essentially, that theme park guests and enthusiasts have come to love over the years. Seeing these things that have made the parks unique and have really separated them from other theme park experiences across the world. Seeing these getting kind of discarded to bring in things like Cars Land, it's not sitting well with some people. And I think there is a level that sometimes we have to accept that things change. Mm-hmm. Some stuff has to change. I completely understand why Splash Mountain has had to have been redone. There's the social aspect of it. I think we talked about this the other day, right? There is a lot of controversy surrounding the film that Splash Mountain was based off of, and it is merited. But separate from that, there was a lot of stuff in that ride that was broken, and it was unsafe to go and fix because of the water and other things. So something had to happen. Something had to happen. So I understand what they're doing. I'm not a big fan of the storyline of the ride, but things had to change. And I accept when things have to change. But where things are starting to get weird now is when we talk about Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now, for those of you that don't know, Disney's Hollywood Studios is what was Disney's MGM Studios. And then the deal they had with MGM expired, and so they had to change the name, and that is why it is now Hollywood Studios. And this is this is the park in Orlando that has Tower of Terror, Fantasmic. It had the Great Movie Ride. Now it's the Mickey ride they've changed it to. A lot of shows, very much focused in movies. And at one time, this park was a studio. They filmed so many shows there for Disney Channel. They also had a full animation studio there as well. There are sound stages. There is so much in this park that people don't really know, but all of it has essentially been shut down, which to me has been very sad. Mm-hmm. It's been a big bummer.
And you could go and see props and people working and all sorts of different things.
Yeah, there was like a tour that you could do where you could see like the costume houses and the prop houses and everything. It was so cool. It was so cool. But that stuff is all kind of gone now, because they've decided to do things like Galaxy's Edge, where they did the Star Wars land, and then they tried to do the Star Wars cruise that you didn't go anywhere and you stayed in a tiny room for 2 nights and paid more than a cruise, and it was so bad it got shut down. And
in a year
it was really bad. So there's been a lot of these choices being made, and again, pouring into IPs. So I bring this up because clearly Disney has a focus right now with IPs, particularly ones that they have purchased. Disney bought the Muppets a number of years ago. I am a huge Muppet fan. Massive Muppet fan. And the history of Hollywood Studios is that there actually should be a Muppets Land. And I'm going to go through this history with you because it's absolutely wild. Because it does seem like Disney is not valuing this IP that they have purchased. There is very little care being given to it, in my opinion, and I think in many other Muppet fans' opinion. I can only speak for myself, but I can tell you a lot of what I'm going to say I have seen echoed by many other Muppet fans. So I hope that makes sense. So yes, believe it or not, back in the day, just getting to where I have this all written here so I don't forget. 1989. August 28th, 1989, Disney announced that they had an arrangement in principle with Henson Associates so that Disney could use the Muppet characters and potentially that there would be a merger of the Muppets in with Disney. And this was a negotiation that, to my understanding, based on what I've researched, was between Jim Henson, who is the creator of the Muppets. He is Kermit. He's Ernie. He is Ralph the dog. He is iconic. He is amazing. He's a personal hero of mine. And Michael Eisner, who we've previously talked about, that he kind of had this obsession with getting, IPs, stuff that was in film, getting it into the parks, all this other type of stuff. And Jeffrey Katzenberg was also in the mix. So for anybody that is aware of who these people are, probably you're already thinking, oh no, what was that negotiation like? It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. But basically the idea was that Jim was very ready to do a sort of merger because he wanted to focus on creating art and not being weighed down by the business side of things. And he also was very excited about the idea of theme parks, having the Muppets integrated into a theme park. He was down. So the two of them started their negotiations, and then they had this agreement in principle, meaning it was not a finalized agreement, but they were like, we're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. Let's go. So the first thing that they decided they were going to do was a attraction called Muppet Vision 3D. It is a 3D show that integrates both puppetry and animation in the same show. They had a full recreation of the Muppet Theater from the Muppet Show. And this show is hysterical. I constantly hear people saying when they watch it for the first time, as much as it is older, it is hilarious and they love it. It is absolutely brilliant. The pre-show is even brilliant.
Yep.
We have made jokes about the pre-show on this show.
I will literally
multiple times.
I will not go into the main theater and sit there to watch the whole pre-show before I go into the main theater because I need to see it again.
Because it's great.
Yes.
And I've also heard many people that, they'll talk about being excited to ride the new rides, but they're like, but I gotta hit Muppet Vision. I gotta get into Muppet Vision. So it has basically become, it is a staple. It is beloved. And now the question is this going to be the next thing on the chopping block? And I am all for things evolving, things being changed. Like I said, I understand with Splash Mountain why it had to be updated. I get it. This one is different. And it's different because of the context. And it also doesn't make sense to get rid of it. And stay with me. Basically, what has been rumored is that very shortly before there was an announcement at D23, they were allegedly, based on some rumors I have heard, going to announce that Muppet Vision was closing down. And they revoked it at the last minute. That has been the rumor I have read. I don't know how true it is. But Muppet fans don't really trust Disney that much for various reasons. So since that kind of hit the social medias, Muppet fans have been collectively losing their ever-loving minds. And if you basically go into any Muppet post right now, you're going to see a lot of the hashtags Save Muppet Vision, Save Muppet Vision, Save Muppet Vision, and it's because of this. But why is this so messed up? Oh, here we go. So, originally, due to the negotiations, Muppets were supposed to be a much bigger part of Disney's MGM Studios, now Hollywood Studios. There were actually 2 stage show things. I am sorry for these costumes, but this is what it was. We had Here Come the Muppets, and then we also had another one. It was a follow-up show called Muppets on Location, Days of Swine and Roses. These did come to fruition, but there also was a plan for a Muppets ride, and I love this so much. It would have parodied the Great Movie Ride, which the Great Movie Ride was a ride that opened at MGM Studios that went through iconic scenes in movie history, essentially. So there was a Wizard of Oz section. There was a Casablanca section.
Singing in the Rain.
Indiana
Jones.
Yeah,
Alien.
Tons of stuff, right? It was kind of the idea. So they kind of were like, we're going to do our own spin on it. But As Jim said, it's the flip side of the rest of Disney and Jim Studios, which tells you how movies are made, but we're going to do it in the most stupid way possible, using lots of information, with the Muppets basically messing up iconic scenes in movie history.
I'm here for this.
Yes, there's concept art for it. Jim did talk about this publicly before. We'll get there. But originally the idea was that there was going to be a Muppets type land. So similar to what we see now with like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Pandora at Animal Kingdom for Avatar, like Cars Land that is apparently going to be coming. There was going to be a Muppets thing. This was going to happen because the negotiations were being worked on. And at the same time, the Muppets actually were very excited about this. Jim was very excited about this. And they actually filmed a special, which I highly recommend, called The Muppets at Walt Disney World. It is hilarious. If you ever want to see Kermit as Indiana Jones, it's a good time. And they filmed this. They were so excited about it. And the merger was still being worked on. As time went on, the merger got more and more complicated. From what I've read, Michael Eisner was very focused on wanting Sesame Street. Jim did not want Disney to have Sesame Street. It's okay with the Muppets, but Sesame Street needed to be its own thing. The stress of this merger, from what I've read, was just on another level. And unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, so less than a year after they announced that there was the potential partnership, Jim Henson passed away at the age of 53. He became ill in the beginning of May. He told his publicist that he had a sore throat, but continued to work, thinking that it would go away, and unfortunately it did not. And he passed of, I'm going to say this word wrong, and I'm so sorry, but it's a streptococcal, I believe, toxic shock syndrome associated with a form of bacteria pneumonia, I believe. And he passed away in hospital. And his death was sudden, tragic, devastating, and the negotiations for the merger fell apart. Understandably. But again, it was messy. So, there was an agreement to license the Muppet characters for Disney theme park attractions, specifically for Muppet Vision 3D. And it officially opened on May 16th, 1991, the first anniversary of Jim's passing. Okay, so this attraction is very special because the film that is shown is one of the very last times that Jim performed with the Muppets. It's one of the last projects he was ever involved in. It was very special to him. He was very passionate about it. And there also is another Muppeteer that this was one of the last things that he worked on, Richard Hunt, who actually was the, I believe he was kind of like the master of ceremonies almost for Jim's funeral. I can't remember. He did a lot. Can you double check that for me, producer sister? Mm-hmm. Richard Hunt's, I believe he was, because there was a lot that went on with that. And Richard Hunt is amazing. It's so underrated. But this merger, this whole thing, it left a really bad taste in a lot of Muppet fans' mouths because of the way that things went down. And separate from the fans, Frank Oz had opinions about this. And put a 1 in the chat if you know who Frank Oz is. You may know him as a director. You may know him as Yoda. You also may know him as Fozzie and Miss Piggy. Frank Oz worked with Jim for decades, and they were very close, literally like Kermit, Fozzie, Ernie, Bert. You know, they were incredibly close. And Frank did this interview a couple years ago. This was August of 2021. And I just want to read you guys this section. So they're talking about how Jim passed away. So the interviewer says, I tell Oz I still find it shocking how quickly it happened. And he responds, the Disney deal is probably what killed Jim. It made him sick. Oz replies, At the time of Henson's death, he was negotiating with Michael Eisner, then the head of Disney, about selling the Muppets. Eisner was trying to get Sesame Street 2, which Jim would not allow. But Jim was not a dealer. He was an artist, and it was destroying him. It really was. So it's not just the fans being like, this really sucked. There's Frank. And I think it speaks volumes. What was said with that. So with all of this, why does it matter? Basically, if Muppet Vision 3D is one of the last projects that Jim worked on before his passing, it is very special. And the only place on Earth that currently airs this film is at Disney's Hollywood Studios. There was a location at the California Adventure Park in California, but it was temporarily shut down to house a Frozen sing-along, and then midway through that temporary closure, it was announced they were done, and Muppet Vision was gone. Fans had feelings about this as well. Finally, Disney manages to buy the Muppets. Not Sesame Street. They didn't get Sesame Street, and that was in 2004. And in Oz's mind, I can't remember if I made a slide of this. I did. So, Frank Oz also said in this interview, there's a demarcation line between the Jim Henson Muppets and the Disney Muppets. There's an inability for corporate America to understand the value of something they bought. They never understood with us. It's not just about the puppets, it's about the performers who love each other and who have worked together for so many years. And that is a whole thing with the Muppets takeover and Disney, because I do think Frank's statements are true. And I want to be very clear that I love the Muppets. Like, I adore them. And I think what they represent is so needed. Acceptance, laughter, love, all those things.
Silliness.
Yeah, we need more Muppets. Like, the world needs Muppets. And as much as I have respect for what the Muppets have produced under Disney, and I will say, I think I think Kirk Thatcher, Bill Beretta, I mean, there's so many people there that don't get the credit I think that they deserve, and they're incredible. They're absolutely incredible, but I can't help but feel like there are sometimes at points that there's something missing, and I wonder how much of that is Disney interference, for lack of a better term. So as the Disney Muppets are being criticized for their lacking in the heart department, the idea that Disney would essentially destroy the last project that Jim Henson ever worked on, or one of the very last, before he died, possibly from the stress of the merger, is just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And there's a lot of fans who believe that the Muppet Theater should be protected. And I'm going to explain a little bit more of why in a second. I think it's the next one. No, it's one after this. Okay. So when we talk about theme parks, we're going to get really technical for a minute, but stay with me. We have to talk about capacity. We have to talk about how many people can a park handle, and you have to have attractions that can handle taking in a lot of people. There's very rarely a really long line at Muppets. It's usually about 10 minutes. But what's important to really remember about this theater is that it actually takes in they take in 560 people roughly every 15 minutes. So that means that they're taking in 2,256 people roughly per hour, if you do all the math. And to put that in perspective, one of the most popular attractions at Hollywood Studios is Tower of Terror. Shout out if anybody likes Tower of Terror. And that ride can only take 1,260 people an hour. So Muppet Vision takes in double the capacity of Tower of Terror. It's also one of the very few attractions at Hollywood Studios right now that does not have a height requirement. Mm-hmm. There's a big problem right now at Hollywood Studios of what do you do with younger children? Because they can't go on the Star Wars rides.
Nope.
They can't go on Rock and Roller Coaster. They can't go on Tower of Terror. They can't go on the Toy Story roller coaster. They can go on Toy Story Midway Mania. And then there are the shows. But the two of the other shows, the Beauty and the Beast show and the Indiana Jones show, are also both outside.
On metal benches.
Metal benches. And we're talking about Orlando. It gets hot.
Very hot.
Like neck sweat hot. It's not fun. The idea that you have an attraction within this park that can take in over 2,000 people an hour, where they get to go into air conditioning, sit down, and the kids can actually go and do something, is severely needed in this park.
And that wait of 10 minutes is generally just waiting for the next show to start.
Yeah.
That's the wait time, is just waiting for the next turnover.
They're moving people.
Yep.
Right? They're moving people. So, and there are various attractions around Disney that don't bring in huge numbers, but yet have historical significance and they are protected. And the one that I like to think of the most is Carousel of Progress.
Everyone's favorite nap ride.
Is this not everyone's favorite attraction ever at Disney? Ever? Put a one in the chat if you don't know what this is. I'm curious. I'm curious how many of you guys are aware. Because Carousel of Progress is not an IP. It's not a franchise. It was a passion project of Walt's that was presented at the World's Fair, I believe. And the World's Fair is a big reason why we have Disneyland in general. So it has a lot of historical significance. But this attraction, I have never waited more than like 5 minutes.
Basically for the next scene to open.
Ever. And it is the ride that we have joked, or the show, essentially. It's a rotating theater. It's different. So I said once if you don't know what it is, right? Is that what I said?
I think so.
I can't remember. Anyway, this is the ride where we go when we need to get out of the rain and we need to nap. And I'm not the only person who has said that I've been to the parks with. I respect it. Mm-hmm. I understand why it's there. I'm not saying it's not important, and I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that there are attractions in Disney parks that do not take in a lot of people. Carousel of Progress, I believe, would probably take in less people than Muppet Vision on a regular basis.
About that.
Not capacity. I'm saying the amount of people going.
Oh, just general, yeah.
Yeah. And arguably, if we're going to talk about keeping IPs in the park, Muppets has more brand power than Carousel of Progress. There's my argument on that one.
I love that you got the shot with Uncle Orville in the back. Just going to throw that out there.
It's no privacy. Okay? So
if you're not familiar with it, Uncle Orville is the guy sitting in the bathtub on the left-hand side at the back.
Yeah. So, for Jim, this just kind of feels like another strike against Disney disrespecting his legacy. And after years of fighting to have the Muppets franchise, what are they doing with it? Because it's super weird when you think about all of the other IPs that they fought tooth and nail to get. Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, and all of them have gotten, like, the push. The big push. I don't see it with Muppets. I just don't. I think they're underutilizing it dramatically. And
the budget needed would be much less.
Uh-huh. But the thing is, too, The Muppets is not necessarily going to be a billion-dollar film. And I feel like this is something that Disney's been very focused on as of late. That they want these movies to make so much money. But the Muppets don't need that much money to make a film. And they tend to bring profits. But it's not as big as they want. It's not as flashy as they want. That's just my opinion, outsider looking in. But I do believe that this franchise is underutilized dramatically. So, D23 this gets announced. And if you look at the concept art here, you can kind of see these buildings. They look very similar to some of the stuff that is already in Hollywood studios around the area of Muppet Vision. And it looks like what they're planning on doing is creating a Monsters Incorporated land where they're going to be putting in a new roller coaster. And the roller coaster looks cool. I'm not saying it doesn't.
I've been saying since the day I saw that movie, there needs to be a Monsters Inc. roller coaster through the Doors warehouse because it just had attraction written all over it when you watch that scene. So from that perspective, personally, I'm very excited for this ride. I think it's really cool of a concept that like the writing was on the walls from the get-go that this should be coming. So yes. I have no problem with the actual ride.
But again, we still have a height requirement problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
This is a problem here. And these types of coasters take up space.
Yep.
A good amount of space.
Yep.
So we're going to take a look at the map. This is the map of Hollywood Studios. So over here is where they've done Toy Story Land. You guys can see my mouse move, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Toy Story Land is over here. As you can see, big area. And I don't know if you can tell here, this is all roller coaster.
Slinky Dog Dash.
Slinky Dog roller coaster. It is huge. Down here, we've got Rock and Roller Coaster. It's a very compact one, not gonna lie, but it is a good size of a building. A lot of these rides take up a lot of space. Over here is what's called the Animation Courtyard. This is where the animation studio was. And there's always been a lot of other stuff. And as you can tell, there's a lot of area back here. There's a lot of stuff back here. So, the logical place, in my opinion, to put Monsters Inc. Land would be here. Because this attraction with Ariel on it has been shut down. They closed it. They got this big building here that I don't know if there's anything even in it right now. Then you got this, which they've changed into like a Star Wars. Isn't it like a meet and greet or something?
That area has been a rotating list of stuff over the last like decade. Nothing has stuck to the left of Mermaid. And then to the right of Mermaid, that building was going for the animation tour, and that's gone now. So they haven't put really anything permanent in there either.
Yeah. And then down here is the Disney Junior show thingy.
So like Playhouse, or it used to be Playhouse Disney, now Disney Junior character show. That would be the main and really only attraction for little kids.
Which I could also argue it wouldn't be too difficult to move it.
No.
In all honesty, because it's
like
a
I have thoughts
show.
On where that could go too.
We do too. There's this whole area here that just is very underutilized, and we sometimes feel like maybe Disney Junior should move over here, but that's just our opinion.
Yeah.
So you have all of this area, all here, and it would make sense to have Monsters Inc. Land, Monstropolus next to Toy Story Land, wouldn't it?
Have it feed in.
Yeah. And then over here we've got Galaxy's Edge. Right? So, there's Muppets. See this little building here? This is apparently rumored where they want to put Monstropolis. I don't understand why you would put a whole freaking world, like a land. Look at the size of Toy Story Land. Look at the size of Galaxy's Edge. Why would you make Monstropolis and put it there? There's no space. There's no space. I kind of half expected it to be taken over by Galaxy's Edge because the Star Tours ride is down here. So there's this like weird mix, like this space between them. But
that I would have gotten more.
That I would have understood. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't do that. But I'm just saying that, like, why? Why would you put it there when you have all over here?
There's also the entire section in the middle where Honey, I Shrunk the Kids used to be.
Yeah. And they're
that
doing nothing
isn't
with
being
that.
used.
So let's go ahead and get rid of the one show that does get somewhat regular attendance, that takes in 2,000 people or more an hour in air conditioning. Let's take that out to put in an attraction that has a height requirement, that is basically landlocked, can't go any further. Well, but you got the whole area on the other side. You got all this. What are you doing? And this is why Muppet fans are like, WTF? Because this feels targeted. This feels ridiculous. This feels like you guys just wanted to get rid of it because it doesn't make any sense. Does that... Producer sister.
Uh-huh.
Thoughts?
Yes.
Like...
The other thing is...
Why?
The other thing that I was also reading about, which I think is a fair point, all of the big attractions are at the back of the park.
Yep.
Or a further distance away. You either have to go all the way back. Can you show them on the map where the entrance is? Just for reference.
This is where you go in. Down here. To put it in perspective, there's the Millennium Falcon. Enter here. Down there. Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. So, if you want to go to Star Wars Land, it's all the way at the back. If you want to go to Toy Story, it's all the way at the back. If you want to even go to Rock and Roll or Tower of Terror, you got to go in and then right and down Sunset Boulevard. So it's still not as bad of a walk, but it's a bit of a walk. Having Monstropolus go in Animation Courtyard, where you can see Ariel, at least it's closer to the front to help break out where the crowds are, kind of thing. It just... Why? Because I will tell you, we have been trampled back in the day trying to get to Toy Story.
Okay, so the Toy Story Midway Mania, that's over here. It's 45-ish, right? I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
Side Woody, the other side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where there's like a Toy Story ride in there.
That ride was there before Toy Story Land became what it is now.
I got punched in the face by a man who was trying to get ahead of me to get fast passes one morning at 8 a.m. going into Hollywood Studios.
Literally, they would
I was like a teenager, and he fully just like decked me to get ahead of me so that he could get fast passes.
So if you were there like first thing in the morning at Rope Drop, you go through the main gates, they let you in up Hollywood Boulevard a little bit. Not all the way to the Chinese Theater, but part of the way up that main street when you walk in.
And then you just go over here.
And then they drop the rope, and it is a free-for-all of basically...
Run!
So back in the day, to get a fast pass, which allowed you to skip the line of the ride and get on quicker, you had to get to the attraction, put in your park ticket, and it would shoot out this little slip of paper that would tell you when to come back, and when your time to come back happened, you got to skip the line. So everybody in your party would give one person the tickets, and that person would run and just book it to that attraction to try to get fast passes.
You do your Hunger Games salute and off they go.
Pretty much. So one person would run, at least this is the way we did it.
Yeah.
And everybody else would just kind of hang back and normally walk to the attraction, and we'd meet up. Oh, good grief. Yeah, Hunger Games. 100% of people just booking it, trying to get back there. But you have to go down and around the Chinese Theater, through Animation Courtyard, and up to Building 48, I think it is there, in order to get it. Wow. So that wasn't even the back of the park. Now, you don't have people running like that anymore because rip Fast Pass.
I'm sorry, Kyle. I will be tribute. I also want to say thank you so much to Jean Rick that sent in a super sticker, the one up. I so appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Please continue, producer sister.
Just... You still have people, especially now, and this is a separate rant that I will save for later with Lightning Lane, of people booking it to these attractions at the back now, trying to get ahead of the line, or they can't afford to do lightning lane. So instead of one person being tribute to get to the attraction to try to get a fast pass, now your entire party has to book it.
And it becomes...
And try to get in line.
It's a stampede!
Seriously, it is hyenas in the Lion King.
It's Jumanji.
Seriously.
It's Jumanji. You just run. Run! And it's so scary. Like, it really is. I don't miss that at all. So
part of the issue is you need enough high-ticket attractions in different directions so people aren't running on top of one another, because I fully believe that people have gotten seriously hurt. I don't know of any instances myself, but...
Well, I mean, they can't sue Disney now anyway, because they likely have had a free trial of Disney Plus, so...
That got thrown out. They
still
down.
Tried it.
I know, and
They tried it.
Not cool.
Shame on y'all. For real.
But you need to have it where people are going in different directions when there is rope drop in the morning for their own safety.
Yep. So,
Magic Kingdom is much better for this.
It's true, yeah, because it's like a wheel.
Yeah,
almost.
Magic Kingdom is set up more as a wheel. So you go up Main Street and then it breaks off like a wheel with different spikes. So people are going to all different lands.
So here's the thing. I'm going to ask you guys this. This may be I want you all to pretend for a moment that you are a planner at Disney World. I'm going to ask you guys, where should monsters go? Muppet Vision? Little Building? Or Animation Courtyard? And I'm going to... Oh, I don't know if I can fit it. No! I was going to say huge tracts of land. Like Monty Python, and I can't fit it. You know what? Hang on. Perfect. There we go. So just, if you had to make the decision, thinking in the future, thinking we're going to build something, we're going to make something big, we're going to do a coaster, maybe there would be other rides, because there is a dark ride for Monsters Incorporated. There is one in California, and there's also one in Tokyo, I believe. Is it Tokyo?
I think so, but the one in Cali might be going too. There's rumors that that's going to be gone.
Oh, but that's also the cursed...
Building's
the cursed
cursed.
ride. It's a Superstar Limo. That's a whole nother thing. I'm just curious about, what makes more sense. So just to be clear, Animation Courtyard is here. All this space. Muppet Vision's over here. This space. Let me know. Let me know.
And Wancho, Disney has backed down on their claim that the lawsuit must be go to arbitration because of the Disney Plus trial thing. So the case will now proceed as normal. They have bowed to, I guess, public scrutiny of that ridiculous,
embarrassing. Badass! How do you actually write that in a legal document and think, oh, it's awful.
Regardless of it being Muppets, let's just set aside for a second that building houses the Muppets.
Yes.
Why would you not want to go on the Animation Courtyard's side where you have buildings that are not being utilized and so much space to grow this land into something great?
And this is why a lot of Muppet fans and a lot of Disney fans right now are pissed. Because we need Disney to come out and confirm where Monstropolus is going.
Yeah. Because I want to be excited about it.
I do.
I really do. I love the concept of the roller coaster.
But it's literally, it doesn't make sense to put it where Muppets is.
No.
It doesn't. What would make more sense, and crazy concept, hear me out. Why not embrace the IP of the Muppets? Because Muppet Babies has actually been fairly successful. Mm-hmm. Let's be real, with Disney Junior. And the Muppets movie that Jason was a part of?
Yeah. And Amy Adams. Jason wrote it. He was the main force.
But he didn't come back, and from the sounds of it, my impression was that it was very difficult for him to work.
Yeah.
With Disney.
Mm-hmm. But he had the vision.
He did, and he made a great film, and people loved it.
Am
I a man or am I a Muppet?
That movie, to me, as a full movie... Okay, let me preface this.
Yeah.
I think over the last, 15, 20 years probably now, there have been 2 projects to me that felt like the Muppets.
Yes.
They felt like Jim.
Yes.
And that was the Muppets with Jason. And then Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Oh, gosh.
Was the other one. But with Jason being the full-length movie, not a special, it felt organic. It felt like he was capturing that spirit that Frank was talking about.
Yes.
And that I broke in that theater watching the chickens sing Forget You. Like, I was almost... It hit me. I was almost on the floor. It was so funny.
Man or Muppet is iconic.
Yeah.
There's so much about that film that is beautiful, and I love it. And I will say, I actually had a whole section. I originally, when I started researching this topic, I might have actually done like a standalone video on it, but I felt like the live stream would probably be easier for me to do. For those of you that have, put a 1 in the chat if you've seen Muppets Haunted Mansion. The plot,
on Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus. The plot of the special is that Gonzo is going to spend a night alongside Pepe, the prawn, in the Haunted Mansion, and the goal is just basically to survive it. And through this experience, this is a bit spoilery, and I'm sorry, but it's been out for a long time. Gonzo has to face his greatest fear, which he thinks is, what if I can't do all these crazy stunts anymore? Who am I without that? And I actually have it written here, what I wrote for it. I want to make sure I don't get it wrong, because this is the emotional side of it for me. And I promise you guys, it will make sense, but you may have crying Kim in a moment. Okay. Gonzo is my favorite Muppet, hands down. And Gonzo is played by a puppeteer by the name Dave Goelz, who I love. Seen a number of interviews with him. He's done a few that are like, they're not necessarily available to the public. You have to go on like mailing lists and things like that, and then you can get in, and it's like a Zoom call, and you get to sit in on these interviews. And he is just an incredible person. And he is the longest standing Muppet performer.
He is Gonzo.
He is Gonzo.
Back to the original Muppet Show.
So in this special, Gonzo is looking into a mirror, and he sees his greatest fear revealed. And he basically ages. And he becomes this old version of Gonzo. The puppet is absolutely incredible. I don't know who sculpted him, but all of the awards, oh my gosh. But through this process, he realizes that his biggest fear is losing his friends. This is emotional because if you follow the history of the Muppets, there's a lot of people that are not here anymore. Yeah. And some of the reasons are incredibly tragic. And as you look through the history, it becomes very emotional because you see this family that just has member one by one getting ripped out of it. Dave started working alongside the Muppets when he was very young. And Gonzo started out as a character that was very insecure, did not have a lot of confidence, didn't know who he was, and he grew into this daredevil type character that just got more and more bizarre. in my opinion, I think there's a lot of Dave in Gonzo, and there's a lot of Gonzo in Dave.
I think there's a lot of Gonzo in all of us.
Yep. And when you talk about Gonzo's greatest fear being him losing all of his friends, Dave's been through that. A lot of them. And as a Muppet fan, when I watched that scene, I absolutely broke. Because
I think we were all crying.
Oh my gosh, like the thing is, like, I've seen the funerals for these people, like, you know, like, and I've read their life stories and all of this, and they've been such inspirations to me over the years. That was a moment for me of Disney Muppets that had heart. And that's why I say, I believe Kirk Thatcher was the director on that,
mm-hmm.
and Bill Beretta was very involved as well. Like, it got me. It got me, and I felt like I was watching old Muppets in that moment. And it makes me sad because I did actually tweet at Kirk Thatcher, and he responded to me, and then I cried even harder.
It's a true story.
And I had to delete my Twitter account, and I was like, no! Like, no! Oh. Yeah, those are the two moments. When Kirk Thatcher tweeted me back, and when Noel McNeil, who is Bear from Bear in the Big Blue House, tweeted back at me, I was done. Happy moments in my life. But the heart is there.
Yeah.
The talent is there. And Disney, I don't know why you are not embracing it and promoting it half as hard as you do any other franchise that you have acquired. And you have a whole land there that you were planning on developing with Jim before he died. And you didn't because you lost the licensing. You didn't because the deal fell through. You didn't because of the pressure that the merger put on him that literally one of his best friends thinks it killed him. And you still got that space. And you could do more with it, with the franchise you currently own, and make good on the deal. But no, that's not what we're doing. Allegedly. Potentially. We're gonna go ahead and for whatever reason, ignore this huge thing of land over here, and we're gonna take this place over here. Make it make sense to me.
And the thing is, too, you have someone like Kurt and the team that did Haunted Mansion who seem to really understand and the original vision of the Muppets.
Yeah.
Who want to see the best for this franchise, who seem to mirror what Jim and Frank and Richard and Dave and all of them wanted in the beginning. You have someone who sees that. Let him do it.
Just let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go be crazy. And the thing is, I understand them going like, well, we don't want things to be too weird. We don't want things to be too mature, because they definitely, like, some of the Muppet performers like to push the envelope a little bit. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Look at Deadpool. Look at Deadpool.
And the Muppets have always pushed the envelope a bit like that. They've always been silly. They've always done stuff. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. You literally had Gonzo in drag in the first season of the Muppet Show.
You did. I love that. There was this, okay, I will say this. There was a very controversial episode of Muppet Babies that came out where Gonzo, when he was playing, decided he wanted to be Cinderella. And a lot of people got very offended with this. A lot of people really liked it because it just was a kid expressing himself the way that he felt comfortable. And there has been, and I heard so many people being like, oh, Muppets have gone woke. Guys, the Muppets have been like a queer space forever.
There's
literally forever.
I checked it because we were trying to figure out when the Gonzo and Drag episode happened. And it's like, no, it was the first season of the Muppets. So right back to the beginning. There's literally a wiki page for the Muppets of all the times Muppet characters have dressed in drag. It is long and hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's great. particularly love Johnny Fiamma dressed up as Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. Johnny Fiamma is a Muppet that was basically based on Frank Sinatra. So if you can imagine a green Muppet based on Frank Sinatra dressing up as Miss Piggy.
It's great.
Just go with it. Just go with it. It's great. It's great.
But that's part of it. Muppets has always been a space for everyone, both in front and behind the camera.
Yep.
That is what Jim created. That is what Jim wanted. That's what should continue.
Yep. Sorry. I think that's the other thing too with Muppet Vision. It's also one of the last times that one of the Muppeteers that people don't really talk about as much as they should, Richard, performed.
He was Scooter.
And Richard went through a lot.
Yep.
And he's definitely one of these people, like, I would have loved to meet these people, to sit and just talk to them, because they just seemed so incredible. And I wish so many of them were still here.
Yeah. And Richard passed about a year and a half after Jim. He was only 40, and he died of complications of AIDS.
Yeah.
So within...
And he had lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
Through that time as well, which was part of why I believe he did have a pretty big role with Jim's funeral. And I believe
he performed. I couldn't see anything saying he was like the MC, but
I can't quote it, like I don't have the sources or anything, but I believe I remember there being a point where Richard had to do so many funerals that he just felt like he could do it.
Yeah.
And that just, I remember that just broke me. And please forgive me if I'm wrong on that detail, but these people loved each other.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. And I just feel like Disney has an opportunity to make right on this. And instead, I feel like they're slapping every Muppet fan in the face. Yeah. And I want to see them do better. It makes me so sad to see what's happening with these parks and with the company in general. Because it's just really, really gross. And it's more than the parks themselves. It is how they're treating the people that go to their parks, the way they're handling their pricing at this time. And I know, producer sister, you wanted to talk about that for a few minutes. So I'm going to put the Kermit tea up. Yeah. Because you've got the tea on that.
Well, I was going to say, just to give people more context, Richard, in addition to Scooter, was also Janice, Statler, Beaker, and Sweetums. So,
it's my life, okay? So if I want to go to the beach and walk around naked.
Right? So he may not have been the Muppets you think of on the initial poster, being like Kermit, Fozzie, Piggy, Gonzo, but he did have a big role in
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So right. I think it's important.
It is important. It is important. So that is why Muppet fans are mad. And this is why a lot of Disney Park fans are mad. I think it is justified. I am hoping that this situation is rectified. There's definitely been a push over the past few weeks that if you want to save Muppet Vision, speak now or forever hold your peace. Not that I think it's really going to matter, because I don't feel like it has in the past, which is really sad.
Well, there's been so many other things that have been ignored. And drifted further and further away from Walt's vision. It wouldn't surprise me that they would, at this point, they would KO the whole thing. Unfortunately. I wish I didn't feel that way, but they've given me no reason to not think that would be the case.
Yeah. Sorry.
In summation, we love the Muppets, and
We
they
love
need
the
to do more
Muppets.
with it.
Yep.
And let people who truly see the passion of it go. Give them the freedom to do it, because that's the whole thing. Muppets need freedom.
Muppets need freedom.
Muppets don't fit in a box. They never have. From day one.
No.
People didn't get the vision of it. What do you mean grown adults are playing with puppets?
Yep. Yes, there are jokes about that. Absolutely. I think, and I feel like similar to the Carousel of Progress.
Yeah.
This is a part of Disney history.
Yeah.
This is a part of Muppet history. This is a part of film history. Because, in my opinion, when I think of the great visionaries in film, Jim is there.
Yeah.
Jim is there. And I feel like he needs to be honored. And he's not getting the respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
So there is why Muppet fans are mad. And I think it really underlines what's wrong with Disney right now.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways. Allow the parks to be the parks. Everything does not have to be about Marvel and Star Wars.
Or just
My
sequels.
gosh.
I feel like we've really lost that ability for a ride to just be a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the franchises, we've had so much focusing on making sequels or spin-offs. You're not creating good IPs.
No.
New ones.
No. I'm sorry. I don't want Toy Story 10.
No.
Right? I don't want Frozen 15.
And I feel like that's where we're headed.
Really? And I feel like the thing with Disney is it always has been, when I think it's been the most successful, it's been a bit of a risk taker.
Yes.
And I'm not seeing that. At all. At all. So.
Disney parks used to be built on a mixture of original rides and incorporating Disney film and television into the parks.
Quite bluntly, I don't know, I hope you guys know this. Give me a second. Literally, why I call you guys Space Angels is park lore.
Yes.
It is based upon an animatronic that performs at a burger and fries restaurant. Give me a second. Get this over here. On a constant loop. His name's Sunny Eclipse. That's him.
At the Starlight Cafe.
At the Starlight Cafe, just outside of Tomorrowland. And he has a song called Space Angels about his invisible backup singers that showed up out of the blue and helped him get his act together and made it better. Which is why I call you guys my Space Angels, because I know there's a lot of people here, but I can't see any of you.
And I am the head Space Angel, who you can hear but not see.
Exactly. So it's that's the idea. Park lore matters. Park lore good. I like park lore.
Yep.
Sounds like I'm saying parkour. Park lore.
But how many recent attractions at Disney can you think of that have nothing to do with IP?
Soarin'?
That's the most recent one I was able to come up with.
Yeah.
And I love that ride.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need an IP. It is a strong enough ride.
It's fine.
On its own.
It's fine on its own. Thank you, Tyrena, for the super sticker. Hoip. I appreciate that. Okay, Perry, parkour. Thank you.
Soarin' is amazing. It is such a great ride. It was innovative. It was a different experience. If you haven't been on it, you basically get to go hang gliding. And the original ride, version of the ride, you went over different areas of California. and they would pipe in smells and wind
Oranges.
and all sorts of different things to really immerse you to feel like you were soaring over these different areas. And this is something that is near and dear to us. It is one of our happy places, but there is absolutely no IP involved in that ride.
Yep.
Unless you want to count Patrick, because Patrick
Warburton does the intro
to tell you how to buckle your seatbelt and all those kind of things, and it's beautiful.
and to take off your Mickey ears and
Yes.
everything. And
There's
there's a very iconic moment of him going, "Nice work, pal."
Nice work, pal. But the thing, like for us, I think that ride became even more special to us because I remember when our dad woke up from his cancer surgery and he woke up, but he wasn't awake. If you know that in between phase where you're just starting to come out of anesthetic and all that. And in his still drug-induced stupor of coming out of anesthetic, he started mumbling. And one of the things he said was, "I smell oranges."
And we knew then.
And we knew
in his mind,
he
was on Soarin'.
He was on that ride.
He was listening to Patrick going, "Nice work, pal." And he was on Soarin'.
Like, and that was so comforting to us to know that, okay, he's coming out, but that's where we know where he is in his brain. He is somewhere happy in his brain.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It was a happy moment.
All these other... Rock and roll has no IP. It is...
Well, it is Aerosmith.
It's Aerosmith, but it's not a Disney...
Yeah, they were kind of just going to go with any band that they could afford.
Yeah. But it's not an IP.
No. So, yeah, I just want to see... It's hard. It's hard.
But it feels like everything they do right now has to have an IP stamped on top of it somehow, whether or not it actually fits. And I mean that in two ways. Mm-hmm. One, does it actually fit with this attraction of what it's going to be? What it should be? Does this character, movie, whatnot, work with the concept of the attraction? Or two, does this work with its placement within the parks? And I think this is the area where things are getting so eroded as we move forward. And I think a big example of that is putting a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Epcot in Future World. It doesn't work. The idea of Epcot, if you don't know, Epcot stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. Yep. It was Walt's vision of the future, of what technology and things were going to become, what we had to look forward to.
Yep. And one of my happiest places in the world.
For the most part, the entirety of the front half of the park at Epcot has no IP.
Yep.
Until recently, they added Finding Nemo to the Living Seas.
Which is basically, they have a massive aquarium.
Yeah.
They also have a whole area. If you've never been and you decide to go to Epcot, go into the Living Seas. Mm-hmm. It's worth it because they have manatees.
Yeah.
They have rescue manatees. They are so cute.
And there's dolphins in there, all sorts of stuff. I will give them credit that adding Nemo as an overlay to the existing pavilion works. I agree with this one. I think they mesh together nicely. And even if you do not have children, you should go to see Turtle Talk with Crush.
Oh my gosh.
Because my word, is that thing amazing.
That could be a what the what on its own. Yeah, there's also these seagulls that sit out front of the seas with Nemo, and they literally just go, mine. Isn't it hi? They go, hi?
Hi. Yeah,
hi, all day long.
Yeah.
Hi. I don't care that it's annoying. I think it's great.
Yeah, I pity the cast members.
I do too,
But-
but it's so funny. It's so funny. It's great. It's the same thing that when you leave the Finding Nemo musical at Animal Kingdom. I don't know if it's still there or not, but
I think so.
the seagulls pop up and they go, bye, 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 bye. I'm like, yes, this is the level of annoyance entertainment I love. The Turtle Talk with Crush though it's like a live thing where kids get to ask a computer generated live Crush questions.
And there is someone behind the scenes answering like an actual human being answering the questions. It's not AI. But some of the questions these kids come up with and ask, and
Fantastic.
I swear some of it is parents feeding these kids questions to try and stump Crush. And it's beautiful.
Yep.
But that seamlessly works together with what Nemo is and what that pavilion was.
I will say with the Turtle Talk thing, I did see a video the other day and I could not stop laughing. The kid asked, if a turtle loses its shell, is he naked or homeless?
I saw that!
And I was like...
It's beautiful.
And then there's just a lot of silence and parents and kids just laughing, and then Crush goes like, yes. Keep going. It was so good. They handled it so well. I don't know what those people are paid, but they deserve more.
Yep.
Oh, so good. So good. Oh. Yep.
So you have that on one side of Epcot, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put Guardians of the Galaxy on the other side. And it's just like, why?
I mean, I think that whole pavilion, the energy pavilion, is that what we're calling it still, or no? Because it's Guardians. I don't even know. It used to be a dinosaur ride with Ellen DeGeneres and Bill Nye the Science Guy, which now that I say that, it just sounds like a 90s fever dream.
Bill.
I don't even know how to explain it.
On Jeopardy.
On Jeopardy, yes.
Yes. Sorry, you have to get that point in there. Ellen is a contestant on Jeopardy.
She's having like a weird dream.
And all of the questions are about energy. And she doesn't know the answer and has this weird fever dream where Bill Nye comes to help her and teach her about energy.
I am just realizing, like, how messed up this is. And, like, if I'm ever in, like, an old folks' home, I'll be like, back in my day, Ellen DeGeneres and Bill Nye the Science Guy went back to the Cretaceous period.
True story.
And they're gonna be like, okay, are you all right? Are you gonna be okay? Do we need to call someone? Like,
probably.
Like, legit, this is a real thing.
Or was.
It was. I fell asleep a lot of the time on this ride.
Well, it was like 45 minutes long.
It was so long. But the nice thing was, towards the end of it, there weren't a lot of people going. And honestly, I understood why, because it was a big time commitment.
Yeah.
Like, you really did. And if you had to wait to get on it,
yep,
it was like an hour.
Yep.
And that's a long time for a theme park ride, especially if you've got reservations or you've got fast passes, rest in peace.
And you can't bail. Once
can't,
you're on, you're on.
You're stuck. You can't get off. And a lot of it is in the dark. And a lot of it is very loud. So it wasn't necessarily something that I think a lot of people really enjoyed, but I liked that there weren't a huge amount of people there, and if I sat towards the back, there were less people, and I could lay down and I could nap.
It was also perfect if you knew there was a big thunderstorm coming in for like an hour. You just go on the ride and miss the rain.
Night, night.
Did that multiple times.
I think that was the foundation of me learning to sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
It was Universe of Energy. Because I literally could sleep through the Big Bang happening.
Yep.
On the ride. It was a lot.
That happened near the beginning, so if you get past that, then you can sleep.
Yeah. Night, night.
Night, night.
Night, night.
It was slow moving. It was air conditioned.
It was beautiful.
It was lovely. Lovely. But I think that thinking has like crossed over into all the parks now, where we're so focused on getting as much IP layered into every attraction we possibly can, we've lost that ability to just make a ride.
Yep.
Make a unique Disney experience. And on the flip side of that, part of what used to make Disney Disney was they would, one, take risks, as we've already alluded to, but two, they would go that extra mile.
Yep.
When Disneyland was built, Walt wanted the castle.
Yes.
You could have built a facade of a castle, a 2D, not cardboard, but like just rendering of the castle. No, they built a castle. And when they built Walt Disney World, they built a bigger castle.
It's actually really funny now when I look at the... Okay. When I was 16, we went to California.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I went to Disneyland.
First and only time we've been there.
Yeah. So, there is... Let me zoom out here. There's the Disney World castle. There's the Disneyland castle. I couldn't help but feel like there was a size difference. There you go. Yeah, so you see what I mean? I don't know why. It was like, we just walked around like Main Street and we just kind of stood there. We're like, this is underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm like, it's so little.
Because you were used to this.
It shrunk. Actually, there's a graphic. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh gosh. Okay. Why not? Yeah, exactly. Robin Exxon, right? And that's the other thing too. We could rant about Epcot and the sponsors.
Yeah, that's a different rant. But I think the thing was, I get it. Like every time they did something and they had more capital, they used it. We're going to make it bigger and better. Bigger and better in the sense of sometimes that physically means making it bigger, but always making it better, of pushing the envelope, of always being at the cutting edge of that technology, of giving their Imagineers freedom to go for it, right? Of taking whatever we can do, however we can make it better, let's do it, right?
Sorry, my fella just jumped in the chat. Don't castle shame Disneyland.
But what I mean is,
sorry,
for what they had when they started, again, they didn't just make a facade of it. They still built a castle.
They did.
When they had more money going into World in Florida, they built a bigger castle.
And they built a big ball.
Yeah. Kim, if you just search Disney castle sizes, there's a graphic that will come up. So they took that and ran with it. They gave their people freedom to come up with new concepts. Things like the Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, all these different rides and attractions that have now become movies, originated as rides, originated as their own unique experiences specific to the parks. We're not getting that anymore.
Nope.
They've abandoned that side of things, and I miss it.
Yeah, so there's the differences in the castle sizes. This is why we were like, oh, this is 189 feet. This is 77.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dreadnought. Balls! Shout out to Captain Corey! Balls. Michelle just asked, what is the ball? Okay, so the ball
Is Epcot.
Is at Epcot, which is the second theme park that was built in Walt Disney World in Orlando. And the big ball is actually a ride called Spaceship Earth that goes through the history of human communication.
Yep.
And is home to the iconic scent of Rome burning.
Yes.
Which those of you who have been on the ride know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a really unique ride, and I love it because I love animatronics.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're fascinating.
And it goes through all different areas in history.
Developing language, all that type of stuff.
Technology.
It sounds kind of boring, but it's not.
It's not.
It's really cool, and it's pretty.
It
At
is.
points, it's really pretty.
It's currently narrated by Judi Dench.
It was narrated before that by Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do the next time when they choose to. But, yeah.
But that's another thing that came out at D23 this year. So there's been a number of different things that have held the space where you come out. There's a enclosed area that you come out of the ride in, and there's been different games or like of future technologies that you can try and do different things over the years. And they just announced they're changing it into a lounge, no theming, nothing. It looks like a corporate hotel lobby lounge.
Woohoo.
And it's like, how does this, you have this original ride.
Dreadnought, it is not James Corden. There is no James Corden on Spaceship Earth. I don't think they want him.
But
sorry.
You have this, why not incorporate some aspect of the ride? Again, you're just cheaping out and making this random lounge area. Use something from the ride.
I mean, should we talk about Figment?
That is a deep
the imagination pavilion.
But this is the thing.
Speaking of Dave Goals.
You have these abilities. You have the ability to do something. This area is literally where you exit the ride. You have to go through it. You have no choice.
Corporate lounge.
Corporate lounge. Really?
It's sad.
That's the best you can come up with?
It's sad.
Not that I have a specific idea.
Mm-hmm.
Give me time. I'll probably come up with something. But I'm not an Imagineer.
No. I think Epcot for me, I will say, it's been hard not going to Disney for me. There's a number of reasons for that. One, it is just getting ridiculously expensive.
Separate rant. I have a lot of feelings about the pricing.
I don't know. A part of me thinks we're going to see what happened in the 90s again.
Yeah. I feel
really
like we're heading that way.
Yeah. Basically, at least for me, Florida, I hope you guys legalize soon. Because I'd like to be able to take my medication and go to Disney. Bluntly put. And I know there's a lot of Make-A-Wish kids, too, that would like that as well. Yeah. From what I've heard. The grapevine. So that's fun. But yeah, in Epcot, there is a section at the back called World Showcase. Where you go basically to different countries. And each of these countries is actually run by representatives of that country.
Fun fact. I was hired to go.
You were! I forgot about that. Yeah.
I was hired to go to Canada.
Yep.
I never ended up going, but I did get the job.
Yep. Over here. You have to go to there's these open auditions you have to go to and be interviewed multiple times.
I had to go to a hotel in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a full day interview, like presentation and then group setting and then a one-on-one interview. And at the time, I can't remember if I was 17 or 18. And they wanted people, the minimum age requirement was either 18 or 19. And whatever it was, I was a year behind. Mm-hmm. So they told me I wouldn't get it because I was still too young. Mm-hmm. I figured I apply. By the time everything works out, hopefully, I'll have turned that age and all is well.
Yeah.
And they called me in October. I would have been 17 because it was my first year of university. And they called me in October and said, you got the job. We need you here in like a couple weeks. And I would have lost my semester and all the money. And so I never ended up going. Mm-hmm. But it's a really cool program that you get to meet people from these countries who give a much more authentic representation rather than just getting, no offense, a bunch of Americans to staff these pavilions, these countries. Trying to project what it's like to be from Canada or Morocco or Germany whatnot, you actually get to meet people from those countries.
So it's like if you go into Norway and you go on the Frozen ride, you're the people that work there are from Norway.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And there's so many of these kids. It's like almost like a college program.
Yeah, it's considered part of the Disney College program. They have a specific visa you get through the U.S. government to be able to come and work there.
And then they have residents.
Yes.
There's stories about the residences.
Yes, there's lots of stories.
I knew a girl who did live there for over a year, and wow. I can't tell you guys anything. I couldn't. I would get demonetized so fast.
Yeah.
They had a good time. I do want to say very quickly, thank you so much, General Scott, for the super chat you just sent in. That's first live. Please consider joining. Love y'all too. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much to Jean Rick, who sent me a PayPal, as well as Kyle. Thank you very much. It was very generous of you. I appreciate that. You guys are absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So it's a really, really cool concept of being able to go to different places, to see different merchandise and food that is representative of the country. Shout out to Canada for the steakhouse there.
It's the best.
Generally named one of the best restaurants at Disney World.
The entire property.
Yeah. Is
the Cellier.
So
good. Oh. Liam, you doing okay? Okay. Sorry.
But there was always a ride in the Norway pavilion. That was now taken out and replaced with a Frozen one.
Are we talking about the Frozen right now?
We can.
We can. This is going to be our honorary What the What, because we don't really have a What the What plan. I was hoping to put something together, and then I hurt my hand, so that wasn't happening. But, Frozen ride at Epcot has become a little bit infamous because the animatronics use something called screen projection on the faces.
Instead of having actual faces.
Sorry, I'm trying to search Frozen Ride Epcot projection, and Google tried to finish it for me with Frozen Ride Epcot pregnant.
Not quite.
And I'm like, I'm just thinking of that YouTube song with the, am I pregnant? Am I pegrant? Is there a possibly that I'm pegrant?
No.
Am I pregnant? Am I pegnate? But yes, so the animatronics in this one, there they are. There's their great faces.
Creepy.
Can you imagine waiting in line for 2 hours with your child to see Elsa, and this is what you get? And that's if the face even shows up. We've had no face.
Yep.
We've had no face.
Blank screen. But in addition to that, when they say they made it Frozen, the actual ride didn't really change.
No.
The track is exactly the same.
Yeah.
The boats are the same boats
Mm-hmm.
that you go on. They changed what's going on around you, but they didn't actually change the ride.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get a good shot of the Elsa animatronic, one of them in Tokyo. Because that was the big thing. There was like a whole thing a couple weeks ago when the Tokyo Frozen ride opened and everyone lost their collective minds because of how good it was.
And I think that's what makes it more infuriating, is you see parks like Tokyo Disney, which is not run by Disney. It is run by the Oriental Land Company, and they
license it.
They license the ability to use Disney. But you see them innovating new things and the quality of what they put out, and compared to what we see in North America, it's just not up to par.
Okay, so I want to, just before I show anybody this, I want to give a big shout out to, just making sure, yeah, we're muted, okay. to Walt Disney World News Today. Thank you so much for the work that you do. We appreciate you. I am not taking this for granted. You can go check them out. They're awesome. And they have a good ride through of this ride. And there's a little bit of projection throughout the ride. Just trying to get there. And I don't know if you could see, but we have fully moving, beautiful animatronics. There's Elsa. She actually has a molded face. It's very nice to see. Hello, molded face. Just that it's so fluid. It's so gorgeous. Just, it's so well done. Have to show this effect because it's ridiculous. Like, oh, it's so cool. And that fountain also freezes.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they've done here. And let me see if I can get the yeah, we're just be like, where's that one shot? But yeah, so this is all, you know, so this is what you see in Tokyo if you go. And I believe this was the moment that everybody kind of loses it. So we're going to pan in a second onto animatronics of Elsa and Anna. Anna is frozen, and she is going to be unfreezed by power of love. There they are. It looks so good. It looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, are you
love her
serious
cape.
with me? Like, and that's what I mean. When
That is the technology that exists.
Why is this a thing? When we can have this. Like, it's literally embarrassing.
It's lazy. It's taking the cheap way out and not just
Squeegee Beckenheim, I believe. Nightmare Fuel, thank you. It is. It is a little bit. I'm so sorry. I don't have words for it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have words for it anymore.
And I think we briefly mentioned it before. The unofficial mascot of Epcot is Figment, who is someone near and dear to our hearts in this house, whom we love. There have been multiple incarnations of the Figment ride, Journey into Imagination, over the years, over the decades.
Mm-hmm.
And each one has progressively gotten worse.
Yeah.
People want Figment.
They do.
People love Figment.
People do love Figment.
And not so much this year, but last year, I believe, or the year before.
2 years ago.
2 years
something
ago.
Like that, yeah.
At D23, their convention, they really were dangling Figment as...
I actually have a Figment.
Yep.
On my set. He's here.
They kept hinting that he was going to be a part of whatever they were announcing. You know what we got? We got a frickin' popcorn bucket.
That popcorn bucket, though. The saga of the Figment popcorn bucket.
It was a ride. But the demand for this popcorn bucket was insane.
I'm gonna look this up now. What is the popcorn bucket at?
People were waiting in line for hours to buy a popcorn bucket.
They literally bought the price of admission to go into Disney World and sat there and waited for a popcorn bucket.
Because people wanted Figment. I don't know how much louder the public can tell Disney that they want Figment. Yet they won't do it. And I don't understand why. Figment is billed as the figment of your imagination. It is encouraging people to use their imagination, to explore, to create.
There we go. There is a Figment popcorn bucket currently on eBay for $260. That's one of the original ones for a popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
But there was a point where these were like, this is expensive, but I'm talking obscenely expensive. They had to do like a whole nother run of them and everything, but there was a point where people thought that they were like this was going to be it. So the Figment popcorn bucket war began.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to those we lost. It was a lot. But I love Figment. Who was also voiced by Dave Goelz.
Yep.
Gonzo. Bring it all back. Bring it all back to center.
Background.
Da-da-da! Good times.
And
sorry?
people have been asking forever for the Figment ride to be redone. To take it back to what it used to be. Not exactly, but more in that spirit. And they just won't.
Oh my gosh, Liam, that is such a good idea. I'm screaming internally.
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
I am so here for that. So
Put
Liam,
Figment in Kingdom Hearts! Yes! Please!
so Liam said Figment should
Please.
be a summon in Kingdom Hearts 4.
I love it! Yes, please!
And like Kat said, they should do more with Figment and Duffy. And Duffy actually originated in Japan.
He did.
In
Duffy and Shelly May.
Yeah, in Tokyo Disneyland. And they brought him over to North America because he did so well there. But they've never really truly captured the marketing of who Duffy is and what his purpose was in Tokyo. What he represented there that made him such a success.
The Disney Bear.
It seems like there's this disconnect that we're just going to bring this.
Okay, I am preparing you all. If you have never seen Duffy before, I am about, you're just.
No.
He's so cute. That's Duffy. He is so cute. So they have toys for him, and he has friends. And the idea is that Minnie, made Duffy for Mickey when he was traveling? And she made him with love, so Mickey would feel her love. And then the thing expanded, and it's adorable, and it's like a thing now for couples, and it's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, these are all the things that we get frustrated about with the parks. I can't believe you guys are all listening to this. This is like us just complaining at this point.
But I think that yes, it's complaining, but I think at the same time, there's so much potential. There's so much underutilized potential that we see. And I know what the parks were like growing up going to them. And what they offered, what they represented. And I also see how far from that we've gotten. And it truly makes me sad. Mm-hmm. Because I firmly believe this is not what Walt wanted. That this incarnation of the parks now that is cheaping out and penny pinching and all these things is not what he wanted. Walt wanted somewhere to take his family.
Katie, I just read the message you sent me in our group. I'm not okay. Could someone please tell me, what is this? Producer sister, I know you'll see it in a second. I'm sorry. But this is apparently Dr. Doofenshmirtz for Disneyland, California. Thank you for the super chat, Katie. Thank you for telling me this.
Well, that's terrifying.
Why did they do this? What? Why did they do this? What are they doing? What child is going to
gravitate towards that without crying?
They're going to be terrified. They're going to be terrified. You thought kids were afraid of Goofy. Oh no.
Kids are afraid of Goofy when they're 3 years old. It is our theory. We have seen it confirmed many times.
I'm watching the chat, you guys already. I'm like, yeah, exactly, Kyle. Why like this? Why? This is There's our what the what. I think
Yeah.
that's it. We're done. I'm not going to find anything weirder than that today. That is a no. That is a no from me, dog. I reject this entirely. Absolutely not. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Sue. Sue, I just got your PayPal. So appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, much horror art. Pretty much.
I think we were not upper class growing up. We were able to go to the parks so much when we were younger because we got in early on with Disney Vacation Club and became members. It was a fraction, and I literally mean just absolute fraction of what it costs now. We were given free tickets to the parks.
Yep.
We drove to Florida. We did not fly. We went to the grocery store. We bought our food at the grocery store just like we would at home. We packed a lunch every day. We went back to our room for dinner and ate in our room. So a lot of what we spent was very similar to what we would be spending if we were at home. We were the epitome of doing Disney on a budget. With our timeshare, we usually sold some of our availability.
We rented
it to friends who wanted to take their families and used that money to pay our maintenance fees. We were very blessed in the situation we were in that we were able to go to Disney every year. And I am very well aware that that's not the norm.
Yeah. We were very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And it's an experience that was very special.
Yeah. That we cherish.
I very much even feel like the last time I was there, there's just something different.
Yeah.
It's not hidden.
And all of these things that were once included are just being taken away because they're trying to get every dime out of everyone. Forget lower class. Middle class can't afford to go anymore.
No. And it's really tragic, and I don't quite understand what they're doing because from a business perspective, you can go for the 1%.
Yeah.
You can go to the 1% to 2%. But are they really going to be the people that keep coming back every year?
No.
How many times are they going to do this? They're going to go to Hawaii or they're going to go somewhere else type thing. And it's just, it's all just become so cold.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. And I really hope that they can turn it around. I hope that they can change things. But clearly, I don't have a lot of confidence in it at this point. And stupidly, and it may sound very dumb and very whiny, but for me, losing Muppet Vision is just...
That's the cherry on top.
I don't want to go.
It's not... Well, the thing is, what we remember, what we think of when we have that vision in your mind of what it is, isn't what it is anymore. It's gone, regardless.
No.
One of the things we used to do was go to the bus stop and play bus roulette. Whatever bus came first, that's where we went that day. We did not have a plan.
Now you have to.
As in the words of Phoebe, we didn't even have a pla.
Yeah. We had a...
And even now, so much time has passed after the pandemic. There are certain types of passes. You still have to make park reservations. You have to pre-book any fast passes that you want, or not fast passes, but it's Lightning Lane now,
which you now have to pay for.
Which you now have to pay for. And I was looking at that. There are so many different. There's all different ranges of what Lightning Lane costs. The average I basically saw would be $20 a day
per person.
Per person. So for a family of 4, that's an additional $80 a day. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. And that gets you 1 top tier attraction and 2 lower tier attractions.
But the top tier
But
doesn't include...
No. The top tier doesn't actually include the new e-ticket top tier. It only includes older top tier attractions. So if you got the $80 package, $80 Lightning Lane for 4 people, it does not include... Where's my list here? Avatar.
She researched this, yeah.
I did. Guardians of the Galaxy, Tron, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Rise of the Resistance.
So
if you want to go on those, you're going to have and get a Lightning Lane, what used to be a Fast Pass, that's going to cost you an additional amount of money. Rise of the Resistance is $20 to $25 is the range. And this is as this article was written last month in July.
On top of your park ticket, which is more expensive to go than it's ever been dramatically.
Are you kidding me? Who can afford this?
What are you guys doing? What are you doing?
When we were doing Fast Passes back in the day. I will say I was happy for the upgrade of going from paper tickets at the actual attraction to being able to get them on the app.
Oh yeah, that was
because
nice.
It saved the trampling.
And it meant I didn't get punched in the face.
Exactly. I'm here for this. But it was included in your park ticket. And you were able to book 3 rides off the hop. And then if you after you had used all 3, if there were still Fast Passes available for the rest of the day, you could continue to get them on the app.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised depending on capacity if that was ever changed, but we never had that. We were always able to.
So we would have days that we were able to get 4 or 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
We just kept going. And we would just run around and do whatever.
That's interesting, Katie. She just said I used to hear about friends and family going to Disney all the time because we're so close, but I never hear it anymore. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're pricing everybody out, and then when they do price everybody out, do you think people are gonna show up and look at animatronics like this and be like, this is fine? Really?
So if I was to go to studios for the day and want to do Rise of the Resistance, and let's try to compare apples to apples as much as we can, I'm getting a Lightning Lane multi-pass and Rise of the Resistance, which would give me 4 passes to skip the line.
Mm-hmm.
The old way would have given me 3 automatically and probably a 4th if I played my cards right. On average, this is now costing me $160 for a family of 4 more in a day. In addition to my ticket price going up.
Insane.
For this kind of quality.
Yep. For Nightmare Fuel.
You want me to pay so much more for less. And that to me is the root of it. For parents sitting around a table talking about taking their kids to Disney. How do you justify this? How do you afford this? Because we would have never been able to afford that.
Never. Absolutely not.
No way. And even beyond that, even if I had the money, that's why?
I don't want to spend it like that.
No. Why am I now expecting to be paying all of these extra dollars for stuff that used to be included in my ticket? I remember when FastPass was initially introduced, and that was Mom's biggest fear of how much is this going to cost? And I'm like, it's not, it's included, which is awesome. Things like a park hopper, being able to go from park to the same park, different parks on the same day, was included in your ticket. No more. We are those crazy people who have done all 4 parks in one day. Mostly because we wanted to be able to say we did it. But we did a ride at every park. It was fun. We had a blast.
Okay, producer sister.
Yeah.
Let's say we got on a flight
Mm-hmm.
to Japan
Mm-hmm.
and we decided to go to Tokyo Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went on their website.
Mm-hmm.
Here is their pricing for tickets for August 26th. And there we can see, I don't believe they have Lightning Lane or anything like that.
I think they have some. Yeah, I know they do have some sort of a system.
But is it a paid one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I know we follow a guy on YouTube. His channel is called TDR Explorer.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. He is originally Canadian and he lives in Japan and he does all sorts of content for basically Asian theme parks. But he has a guide for going there to Tokyo for people coming from essentially North America, of being able to help you plan and organize and understand all sorts of stuff in English. It's great. And he did a lot of promo. He's always doing videos, but he did a bunch of stuff for the new land that just Fantasy Springs that opened at Disney Sea in Tokyo. And I know he was getting passes on his phone for some of the new attractions.
Yeah, but wasn't that the advance though?
It might have been.
Yeah,
Now
I
that
can't
I'm thinking
remember.
about it.
So I'm just double checking something quickly. I think we are going to wind down shortly, but I just kind of want to. Where is it? One. I am doing a ticket combination. Okay. So this is technically a low day. Disneyland, California. The pricing of that is $104 for the same day. So that's 104 US. I don't know how many of you guys know your yen to USD, but there it is for the one-day pass for Tokyo Disneyland. So that's $61.65 for admission for one adult in Tokyo Disneyland. This is why we have a problem. This is why.
It's 40% more than that.
And their food is cheaper. Their rides are better. I mean, it's a hike to get there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying. These are the things that bother us. Because it's ridiculous. I would happily pay $61 a day.
And if you get a multi-day, it would be...
Oh, it's even lower.
Even lower.
It's like way lower. So. Okay. So Jenna, thank you so much for the super chat. That's so kind of you. Said, we can afford going because of military discount. Thank you for your service. And still only go one time per year. We stayed at Disney hotels and it was $1,000 for 2 nights at 40% off. Oh my gosh. Ew. That's awful.
And that's what I mean. People
I'm so
can't
sorry.
afford that.
No, that's...
People can't afford their rent, let alone that.
My goodness. Jenna, thank you for sharing that. But that's
Yeah.
insane. That's crazy.
So Dreadnought asked, so at today's price, what would it cost you to get from there to the nearest Disney park? Say you were a family of 4. Do you mean like from Canada?
I mean, closest to us would be Orlando.
Yeah.
Um,
Flights are brutal.
Flights are bad.
I
mean, it's not as bad if you fly into like somewhere like Tampa and then drive.
But then you got to rent.
But then you got to rent a car, so it's not quite great. Oh, Christine,
back in the day,
I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second, Christine.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about your aunt. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing okay. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah. Back in the day, when we drove, again, we would pack our lunch. We would do it in a day and a half. When we were really, really little, we didn't even get a hotel room. We slept at a truck stop. So we would basically just be buying gas, and like Dad would get coffee.
I mean, I think
Kind of thing.
easily now, if you had a family of 4 and you had to fly and then stay on property and tickets,
Yep.
I think you'd be looking at 5 figures.
Yes. Between food.
Yeah.
Especially if you're buying food at the parks. Good grief. King Bob, I agree they should build Disney Canada. They have every April Fool's Day there is a running gag that
always, and it's always that it's going to be in Marineland in Niagara Falls, which isn't super duper far from us, and that like because we're in Southern Ontario, and I'm always just like, I wish they just do it,
and
because Marineland sucks, and I'm so glad it's closed now.
No, I heard they were opening it like a partial, but all the animals are gone. Like, it's just...
Everyone loves Marineland, but there's no animals here.
No, I'm not going to say that sentence.
Yeah, no. I do not love Marineland. No, and there's a lot of reasons to not love Marineland. F you, Marineland. Seriously.
Take care of your animals.
Yeah, disgusting.
There's a reason why there's none left.
Disgusting.
Ugh. They deserve better.
So much better. It's gross.
But
gross.
Yeah, Disney, anytime if you want to take over that land and check that. Oriental Land Company, if you want to come in.
Yes, I agree. Oh my gosh, I'd become a Disney influencer because I would just go there all the time and I'd be like, yep. Go stay with a friend in Niagara Falls. I'm like, I live here now.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We've decided to like set up shop here. We're gonna camp outside old Marineland.
I just have one requirement.
What's that?
Oriental Trading Company. There has to be a sunny eclipse. There's got to be, because I want to live stream from the park, but I want to live stream with sunny eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the way that it should be.
Yep.
I stand by it. That shall be. That shall be. Well, guys, we've been going for over 2 hours.
Yep.
And I think we've looked at enough stuff that's what worthy that I think we can probably like what even.
And the thing is, there's still other stuff I could rant about that we haven't even touched on.
Oh, there you go, Robin. Thank you so much. Lady at work looked into it for just her and her son, 5 to 6 days, and it was going to be close to 10,000 Canadian. That's for 2 people.
Ridiculous.
I am not paying $10,000. Where is my window? My window died. I was going to pull up that animatronic nightmare fuel, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not paying that for that. I'm not doing it. Ew. If I had 10 grand for a vacation, I'm not doing that. No. Oh, Dreadnought. Well, for reference, you could get tickets to the FA final cup final. I can't talk. Fly over here and back, get your accommodation, and eat out for a quarter of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally, so we did not have free park tickets for the entire time when we were growing up. But as we got older and that perk went away, I got it down to, we were, with the pass we got and the pricing at that time, it was $20 a day per person.
Yep.
We were paying $80 a day going to the parks.
Yep.
For a family of 4.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
Now I can't even get one person in for that.
It's ridiculous. Jenna, thank you for another super chat. My goodness. Said we splurged on the hotel. Haven't, because we hadn't been for 5 years. Fair. I'm assuming Goofy Kitchen character dining was like $215. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that a buffet?
Yep. I think if that's the one, is that the one at the Contemporary?
That's Chef
You don't
Mickey.
have to send in a super chat. Just let me know.
That's Chef Mickey.
That's Chef Mickey?
Contemporary.
Where's the Goofy one? Because I think I'm remembering that because we went to Chef Mickey once.
Yeah.
And I saw the Goofy, and I was wearing a System of a Down shirt, and Goofy freaked out and got super excited that I was wearing a System of a Down shirt. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you're breaking character here, but I'm not mad about it. It's now canon. Goofy likes System of a Down. Which made me so happy.
Oh, it's in Anaheim.
Oh, it's in Anaheim. Okay. Then it wouldn't be at Contemporary. I'm thinking World. I'm very sorry.
Our brains default to World because that's where we have a lot more experience.
We just go back there. Yeah, it's a buffet, Disneyland, California. Yep. Thank you, Jenna. I'm sorry. We immediately go like into Orlando World in our brain.
Yeah. But, yeah, $215 for a buffet.
Bruh. The
And I'm
kids
pretty
section
sure
of that buffet has mac and cheese.
Yep.
I know.
And chicken nuggets and
chicken
pizza.
nuggies.
At least there's another buffet, Cape and May, because that menu looks very similar to Chef Mickey at Contemporary. Cape and May at least has a bunch of seafood, and it's a lot of like the seafood they farm at Epcot.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit more expensive, or at least it was back in the day. But that made more sense because you're getting a bunch of seafood and different options that you can't get at all the other restaurants. So I can at least stomach that a little bit more.
Yep.
But oh, good grief. $215 is crazy.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
For chicken nuggets. I can't.
Chicken nuggies.
I mean,
I hope the food was better than chicken nuggies. I mean, I love chicken nuggies.
I'm here for chicken nuggets.
Don't get me wrong.
No, nothing against chicken nuggets.
Oh
I have
gosh.
an issue with chicken nuggets for $215.
You know what's so funny? I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly.
Uh-oh.
So when I used to work in more of a corporate job and we would go out for lunches and stuff like that, I just started making a habit of wherever I went, I got chicken strips. I got grown-up chicken nuggies. Because I went to too many restaurants and they always messed up my food. And I hated it. And then I'd be like really upset that I had to spend this money on this food that I didn't like. And I just was like, you can't mess up chicken nuggets. And if you do mess up chicken nuggets, there's something wrong with you. And it's very obvious. You know, like that chicken nuggets aren't good, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not cooked or whatever.
It was $215 for 2 adults and a kid.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. So I just started doing that I just got chicken strips all the time.
Yeah.
And I had a few people that were very like chicken strips type people, like why would you not get that thing I can't even pronounce? And I'm like, I know what I like and I don't want to be sick if somebody messes up my food or whatever. I thank you, my fella. You can't skip lunch.
We are both very bad.
Tim Robinson stuff. I can't. Okay,
we're both very bad at skipping lunch.
We are, but I think it's a reference to a Tim Robinson sketch from You Need to Leave, which is just it's so good.
But it hits home for both of us.
It does. And there was one person who was very like looking down on me for ordering the chicken strips. And they got a very expensive, fancy dish. And they got it. And they fully messed it up. It was like raw. What they got. Ugh. It was disgusting. And then my chicken strips came out and they were like thick and meaty and awesome. And the sauces were great. I got like multiple to try. It was amazing. I'm like, this is sick. And I was super happy. And she ended up ordering the same thing I had. She sent back her fancy thing and they had to credit it on her account and she got the chicken nuggies. I'm like, yes! Just get the chicken nuggies!
See, the place to do that, if you want to try the random fancy food, is on the cruise.
Yeah.
That's probably a separate night we could talk about the cruise.
Oh, the cruises?
Yeah. But there, your food is included.
Yep.
So if you want to try something that you normally wouldn't try,
that's okay.
It's okay. Because if you don't like it, you can just get something else.
Oh,
and you don't have to pay anymore.
Sorry, Mandalorian's here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I still love your username. It makes me laugh every time. You do one park a day and run to every ride. Also bring a huge backpack full of snacks and maybe snack on some popcorn or something cheap there on the side. Plus, chicken strips are fire. Yes, they are.
Yes to all of that.
Yes, they are. Oh my gosh. It's honestly, it's just like run. Love it. Okay, I keep saying I'm going to do it. We need to wind down. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours. And I haven't eaten anything. And now I'm talking about chicken nuggies. Oh, we haven't done a Lacey break. Okay, we'll do a Lacey break and we'll peace out. How about that? If she's open to it. Lacey? Lacey? Oh my gosh, guys, she's like asleep.
Is she out?
Oh my goodness. Hang on. So respectfully, we're not going to have a lazy time because I don't want to wake her up.
Ken asked for one more what the what. Do you want to quickly show them Olay?
Give me a second.
See if she wakes up in that time period.
Okay. Okay, I gotta make sure I don't have any other audio coming through. I'm trying to find it.
Lacey's also had a big day yesterday. She had a lot of walking.
Yeah.
So all of the puppies today have been quite tired.
I want to see if I can find it on YouTube as opposed to Instagram, because Instagram's video player is really hard to work with, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
So give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah. We took the puppies on an outing yesterday and they got to walk around a farm.
Yep.
So
it was actually kind of nice. My back was really hurting and I did a lot of treatments on it during the day, and then I got up and I walked around, tried to loosen things up. So it was nice, and the farm was really fun, and I have my Charlie was so freaking happy.
He was so excited.
Oh my gosh. No, it's not. Is it not on YouTube?
I doubt it's old.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I will have to. Where is this? Oh, I don't want to have like my DMs open.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, it's like.
Can we not open it on their page?
No, I think, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So give me 1 second, because I got to change around some sound stuff to make sure that it'll work for you. Do.
Katie, you've seen this. Don't worry.
Katie, you've seen it. You're good. You're good. Okay. Give me 1 sec.
And Steiner.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it seems pretty loud.
So this is just an old video that I found on Instagram. I was afraid.
I'm sorry if it's too loud or too quiet. It's hard to know. I think I fixed the audio. Let me know. This is Super Sombrero Supper with Cece and Anne. Everyone say hi, Cece and Anne.
Hi, Cece. Hi, Anne.
And thank you, little Judy Fun, for posting this, because it's great. Here we go. You guys ready? Oh, crap. Of course the audio doesn't work.
I'm Cece Williamson.
And I'm Ann Steiner.
Today we are here to tell you about the greatest cooking invention since fire, microwave ovens. We think that microwaves are #1.
Perhaps you have seen our...
You guys can hear okay? Let me know. I think we're good. I'm just waiting for like a something. I don't know, producer sister, if you can check if we're there.
Yep.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay.
microwave cooking column, microscope, in the food section of your local newspaper.
We'll show you how to eat your hat and make the Super Sombrero Supper. Put it in the oven for 3 minutes and we'll be ready to assemble our Super Sombrero Supper for you. And if you'll get our meat sauce out of the microwave oven, we'll show everybody how to assemble the final Super Sombrero Supper. All we do is stir the meat sauce and we'll mound it into the center of this.
I have to stop and start it, guys, for fair use. The sound. Why? Just why? Also, like, does this look appetizing to anyone?
No.
Anyone?
Becomes the crown of the Super Sombrero Supper. And you'll see why we say you can eat your hat this time. Okay, so just pile it up right in the center of the tray. And then Anne is going to take some of the chips and start making our Super Sombrero Supper.
You know, Cece, I like to prepare this when I know that we're...
Robin! Robin! I'm sorry. We're now gonna, make the sombrero. You guys ready?
We're going to have all of our family at the table for the dinner, but sometimes we can't all sit down at the same time, and so we let each family member assemble his or her own sombrero.
The shredded cheese goes on the top of our Mexican straw hat here. Ole! Hi, I'm Cece.
Olay. It's done. It's so done. Oh my gosh. Also, hello, General Scott. And I will do this for you. We'll do this for you. Disney pricing would leave me with, let's go.
Insufficient funds. You ain't got no money. Woo.
Olay.
Olay. I was on the fence about sending it in the group chat.
I'm so glad you did.
And then I heard the Olay and I'm like, nope, it's going.
Olay. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh. I mean, they discovered microwave ovens and it made them very happy, and I'm very happy for them. Oh, that noise though, just
It's so gross.
I love it. My husband just was like, brother, brother, what is that? Pretty much. All right, producer sister, is there anything else you would like to say before we?
Nope. Is Lace still asleep?
Lacey.
Lacey.
Hi, Bear. Do you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
This time she stood up.
Yeah. There you are. There's a Lacey. Say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for spending some of your Friday night with us. Much love to you all.
Yeah.
I
I hope you guys had fun.
I think we had fun.
Let us know what you think about this type of stream, this type of content, if it's something we should do again or what we should do different, what you liked.
It was fun. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to roll the outro.
Yep.
Much love to all of you. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.